Alright, let's begin. This video is going to show you how you do assessment in LiveText once your assignment has been created in a course and if you attached a rubric. So again, go to livetext.com, provide your login credentials and log in. Once you get in, you'll land on the LiveText dashboard as usual. And you notice there's an assignment here, and that's the one we're actually going to look at. If for whatever reason you don't see the assignment listed here, you can always just click on the Courses tab, click on your course, the one that you're going to do the assessment for, go to the Assignments tab, and find the assignment that you're going to assess. A few things to note, I guess. Well, one thing that I'm going to focus on right now is that you see this progress column. It tells you a few things. There are 6 students enrolled in this course, and because this whole status bar is red, that indicates that none of the 6 have been assessed. Now when you're ready to go ahead and begin your assessment, you're just going to click on the assignment, and you notice how the assignment title is hyperlinked, so it lands here on the Assignment Details tab. We're going to go to Submissions and Grades. And when you click on Submissions and Grades, it will take you to your student roster. Now there are 3 columns on this page. One awaiting submission, the second one awaiting assessment, and the third one showing completed assessment. Now this column here sort of assumes that students have access to LiveText and are submitting their documents to a course through the LiveText interface. Most of our students don't have access, so very few of them would be able to do this, and that is why most of your students are going to be in this column here. The other thing to note here is that you notice some are in red and some are in black. The student names in red, as is noted here, are not LiveText members. That means these students don't have, the student modules don't have access to LiveText and hence cannot access the assignment and submit them. We have one, our test student here, student KCC, who is actually within the system, and that's why this name is in black lettering. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at the first thing. So one thing I tell people is to go ahead and look at your class roster. Now sometimes you're going to see students in here that never attended the course, and that's probably because early on when we uploaded the roster, it was before maybe the add drop deadline, so a student was enrolled in the course but then decided later that they weren't going to complete the course and dropped. But once they got imported, they're sort of part of your roster. So let's pretend that this student here, Jen, and this student here, Ramel, were students who were never enrolled in the course as far as you know. So we check both of their names, and then we're going to click on this Assess button here. And LiveText takes us to this page here. So you notice we have 2 students here, right? The 2 that we selected. And it brings up the rubric down here. And then we have a couple of fields. Now notice how this comment section has a comment, even though I didn't submit one. LiveText often caches whatever you typed in the comment box the last time you used LiveText. So in this case here, we need to ensure that whatever the comments say is actually accurate. So I'm going to go ahead and just delete it for now. So remember again, these 2 students were students who, as far as I know, never attended the course. So I'm going to choose the NA option on this rubric because I don't want to assess them because I can't. In this comment section, I'm going to say that student was not, or student never attended course. And I say student because remember that this comment is going to be attached to each individual student's assessment record. Now, once I've included the comment, I've checked the NA column on the rubric, which is the one you want to choose, because once you start selecting anything in here, it's going to assign either a meets or doesn't meet, or 1 point or 0 points. And we don't want to do that. We don't want to assess these students because we shouldn't be. They were never enrolled in the course, again, as far as we know, and did not complete any of the work. So once we're happy with that, we're going to click on Submit Assessment. And you notice in our column, or our 3 columns, those 2 students have now moved all the way over to our completed column. Now on the flip side, you may have students, in this rubric here, it's very simple. They met or they didn't meet the SLOs. Maybe you had a couple of stellar students that have a similar assessment. So you could do something similar to what we did for those first 2 students. Again, you would check whoever those 2 students are, or multiple students, and then you would click on the batch assess, and again go back, make sure you clear that comments box, check off the rubric, and hit Submit Assessment. I'm not going to do that right now. I want to show you what it's like to do assessment for an individual student. The interface is a little different, so let's do Christian here. And notice how it looks different from the batch assess interface. Our rubric is way down here and it's sort of scrunched up, but we have the same fields. We can put in a grade, we can put in comments, and we can check off our rubric. If you don't know what these things are, you can't remember, you can always hover over them, and it'll show you. So this is meets, this is does not meet, and it shows you the points if there are points associated with the rubric. If you don't know what each of these things are, you can again hover over them and a little pop-up menu opens up and you can kind of see what's in each of the rows. If you don't like doing it that way, you can always click on Expand Rubrics and it'll open up your rubric in a bigger separate screen. And then you can, and you notice it populates in both places. You check here, but it also appears there. So you can do your assessment here, click Save and Close. Notice again the rubric's already been completed. You can add comments if you want. People often ask, do we need to put the grades? It's up to you. You don't have to. Again, because students aren't really accessing LiveText, they don't really need to know their grade. Your grade is going to be posted in MyUH or in the Laulima gradebook, but you can if you want. You can add any comments that you want in this box also. And by the way, you can actually add comments to each of these individual rows in your rubric by clicking on that little button there, and you can type in comments. So that's up to you. Once you've inputted everything, you're going to go ahead and click on Submit Assessment. And then again, notice how Christian has now moved from here to here. If you start on a student and you're doing your assessment, and for example, you're missing your gradebook and so you can't complete it. So you say, well, I think she made all of these or met all of these and didn't meet this one, but I'm not quite sure. You can always fill out your rubric and then click on Save. And so this pop-up opens, right? It's going to move the student from that the submissions, awaiting submissions column to the awaiting assessment column. We're going to say continue, and you notice now that that student has moved from this column to this one. When you're ready, you can always go back, click on that student's name. It carries everything over, and say for example we made a mistake and she actually didn't meet that. So now we're going to go ahead and click Submit Assessment. Notice now that she's now moved from the Awaiting Assessment column into the Completed column. Now let's say, for example, we actually made a mistake. We assessed Ashley, but we were actually looking at someone else's row in the gradebook, and you made a mistake. Just because we completed her doesn't mean you can't undo what you did. All you would do is click on the student's name, click on Undo Assessment, and you notice now she moves from the Completed column into the Awaiting Assessment column. Alright, so let's go ahead and finish it, make it correct. I was actually right the first time. She met almost everything except for that one. Click a Submit Assessment again, and now she moves again from Awaiting Assessment to the Completed column. So now let's take a look, and actually I'm going to do a batch assess. KCC student and Jim Klein were excellent students who aced everything. So they met all the CSLOs. And remember now, LiveText often caches whatever you put in the last time you use a comments box. So you probably wouldn't want to leave this comment. So let's change it. Let's say excellent students, actually student, and then go ahead and click on Submit Assessment. So now those two students have moved from the awaiting submissions, awaiting submission column to completed. So once you see them all here, you know you are now done. So if you go back to this assignment overview page, our status bar has changed from red to green. And like in the other video I showed you, now you can click on the view and review a report of how your students did for this particular assignment in this class. Alright, I'm going to stop there. If you have any questions, as usual, contact information is in the description below. Feel free to reach out. Alright, good luck.